A pleasant good day to you and yours, and welcome to Island Tea for today, the 10th of November in the year 2025. And as you know, when you hear my voice first off, Hortensia won't be in today. As a matter of fact, it seems she won't be in for the rest of the week, as she will be otherwise occupied. So, for those of you who look forward to hearing her voice, she's not sick or under the weather, just otherwise employed, going through a bit of a training session, as I'm told, that will take the rest of the week. So we'll be looking forward to having her back with us come Monday next week. Until then, well, you're saddled with my voice, and you're just going to have to do with it. You're just going to have to bear with it, okay? Let me see here again, hoping that your day started well. And for those of you who are a bit under the weather, here's hoping that you recover expeditiously and get back to being as close to 100% as soon as possible. Now, let me give you the numbers that you can call if you wish to interact. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989, and in the UK 033-344-0065, in the US of A 718-285-6984, in Canada 305-921-4619. Okay, those are the numbers you can call if you wish to interact. If there's anything you feel you need to bring to our attention. Okay, let me see if I can open something here. Yes. See if I can open something while that is opening. Well, over the weekend, just recently, we had the Sir Arthur Lewis Memorial at the ECCB presentation representing his contributions to the globe and hailing from the Caribbean region, a Nobel Peace Prize laureate. Okay, and we heard the presenter speaking about, specifically, she was speaking on the citizenship by investment and how it has been utilized all around the globe. And she specifically outlined three different aspects of the citizenship by invest. She said there was a discriminatory aspect to it, discriminatory investment, and that was an investment where the government of that country within which one wanted to get a citizenship, the government would give a discretionary authorization. And then she spoke about citizens by investment, the financial aspect, the one that we are more accustomed with, the one that we utilize right here in our region. And then she also spoke about the golden visas, one that we find that even Trump took part in quite recently. She spoke about the pros and cons, the ups and downs and in betweens, and I was rather intrigued to hear her presentation. Also, let me see if I can pull this up here. This is a recent release from the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association, and I got this from Mr. Chesley Hamilton. He WhatsApped it to me, and it says, response to the recent comments by the Attorney General on the Bar Association and their role in the review of the draft legislation. That's the draft legislation to do with the special services area. And the letter reads, the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association notes with concern recent public statements made by the Honorable Attorney General Gart L. Wilkin, suggesting that the association has failed and or neglected to provide comments on the draft bill presented by the National Assembly during his tenure as Attorney General. The association categorically refutes these assertions. The Bar Association has, on several occasions, formally requested from the Attorney General copies of all draft bills so that the association may review and provide input prior to the bill being law. This standing request has been maintained as a reoccurring agenda item at every meeting held between the Bar Association and the Attorney General since he assumed the position in 2022. This policy of engagement by the Bar Association has produced tangible results in the past. For example, upon request by the Attorney General Chambers on 7 February 2025, the Bar Association submitted detailed written comments to the Attorney General on both the anti-corruption bill. I gotta give me a bit of a break here as the printing is very small. The anti-corruption bill and the Integrity in Public Life Assembly bill on the 28th of August 2024. The Bar Association received a request from the Attorney General's Chambers for comments on the voluntary bill of indictment bill. First reading was held on the 5th of July 2024, and the judge alone trial bill. First reading was held on the 1st of August 2024. The association was asked to submit comments by 6 September 2024. That is 9 days after the bill was provided. Although those bills were circulated to the general public for feedback, the very short time frame allowed meant that no consolidated comments could be submitted before the deadline that was provided. Since that time, the Bar Association has received no further requests from the Attorney General's Chambers for review and feedback. To be specific, at no time, the Bar Association has been provided with a copy of the Special Sustainability Authorization Bill 2025 for review and or comment. Accordingly, any suggestion that the association has received any suggestion that the association has remained silent or indifferent to legislature or legislative matters on the alleged silence of the Bar Association ought to be constructed as agreement with the content of legislation. Let me read that back again. Accordingly, any suggestion that the association has remained silent or indifferent to legislative matters, or that the alleged silence of the Bar Association ought to be construed as agreement with the content of legislation is misleading and inaccurate. Man, I tell you, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and I have a problem with those fine print. But the gist is that the Bar Association is saying that they received notice as to the bill rather late, and they were unable to reply because of the short time span given before the bill was perhaps read and passed. And they said after that they were never given any other communication as to whether or not they could partake in speaking about any concerns or acceptance of the bill, and for the Attorney General and or his chambers to do so, to suggest that they have been negligent or that they are accepting in any way anything associated with the bill, it is misleading and should not be so. Okay? And that is very interesting, because if the Bar Association didn't get information prior with enough time to scrutinize and assess the pros and cons of the bill, then that brings up a big question, because then we, the general public, cannot be alarmed that we are not really au fait with all of the ramifications of the bill. We should not be surprised then that we are kind of vague as to how the bill should be interpreted. Because if the Bar Association is not enlightened, then who are we, the general public? At least you would think that the legal luminaries, of which the Attorney General is a part, would be adequately informed with enough time to scrutinize. But apparently that was not the case. Okay? Now let me see if I can take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
You found the sound. 99.9 WinnFm.
I ain't got no hurricane safety tips now. Well, Skellek got, and together we can weather the storm. So, check this. Prepare for power outages. Charge devices before a storm strikes. Develop a plan in the event that electricity goes. Learn where and how to shut off your home's electricity. Ensure that there are no trees in the lines near you. If you are experiencing low voltage, turn off the main switch in your home. Do not touch wet appliances. Be sure to stay tuned to Skellek's Facebook page and website for updates about the outages and restoration. For emergencies, our contact numbers are 465-2013, 661-2013, and 600. I repeat, 465-2013, 661-2013, and 600. Remember, with Skellek's hurricane safety tips, together we can weather the storm.
Reliable and responsible. Skellek is here for you. Powering our community.
Here comes the Mega Ball. You can win more with the Mega Ball. Pick 3 and pick 4 and you could get all.
Yes, playing Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery just got more rewarding. Now you can win more with the Mega Ball. For just an extra $1, increase your winnings by $1,000 with the Pick 3 and a big $10,000 with the Pick 4. Don't wait, play today. Play Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Mega Ball at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide.
You ready to win a little extra? Then get on the ball.
Must be 21 and over to play.
And I'm back with you. The time 8:24. At the bottom of the hour, we should be having traffic talk with the officers, so we'll be geared for that when it comes about. In the meantime, and in between time, again, I repeat, if there's anything on your mind that you feel you wish to bring to the public, then feel free to do so. Okay, let me go here. I'm going to play a clip, and it is to do with the ongoing saga in the region and some of the fallouts. We know that quite recently, again, another ship was blown up, and from my understanding, at that point, about 3 individuals were killed, and so that is an ongoing thing. Let me see if I can play this clip for you in the meantime as I go to answer.
I see a lot of people are trying to paint those of us who are not supporting our Prime Minister's stance in the whole Venezuela-US standoff as unpatriotic. They are labeling us as unpatriotic. I love my country, but make no mistake, there is a process whereby we can capture these boats and these men can be put before the courts. There is a space for the court. Governments are not allowed to take over. That is out of their jurisdiction. Allow the courts to do what they are supposed to do. So this is not about being unpatriotic. This is about standing for the rule of law. That is what we are discussing. That is the bottom line. There are persons in the international community that are throwing around the whole idea that our Prime Minister could have to face the International Criminal Court. And, you know, persons say, oh, madness, stupidity, she ain't killed nobody. She has publicly, and she's done it clearly. There is no way for you to misunderstand what her position is. She has publicly supported the murder, because that's what it is. She has publicly supported illegal killings, illegal bombings. Might I remind Trinidad and Tobago that 2 of our citizens were killed. 2 of our own citizens were killed. And you know what is ironic about it all? Is that we have 2 ministers. One minister is out on bail. Out on bail. The other minister faces allegations of conspiracy, fraud, in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And these 2 men continue to live lives of luxury on the backs of taxpayers. And when those cases are raised, the Prime Minister says innocent until proven guilty. And she speaks about due process. It is convenient for her to know the right of every citizen to be innocent until proven guilty. Secondly, we are saying no. We do not want to be caught up in any standoff between the US and Venezuela. We are a zone of peace. We fight to be a zone of peace. We have signed off on being a zone of peace. Yes, Kamla Prasad-Bissessar signed that document. And we want peace. We don't want any talk of war. Leave us out of it. Continue to mediate. That is the language that we would like to see from you. Language where you are mediating, where you are calling, you're telling citizens to be calm. You need to go and tell Trump to be calm. That's what you need to do. We don't want any escalation of violence and tension in our region. And you are supposed to help that peace, not make it worse, not use reckless language like kill them violently. We lose $5 billion to corruption every year. Citizens, do you all really think that them small pirogue is our greatest problem? White collar crime is our greatest problem. If you think that because the politicians and the businessmen, not the ones holding the gun and causing and actually, in the home invasion, if you think that they are not the cause of our society absolutely collapsing, you all are sadly mistaken. And yet, look at Steve Ferguson. How many years? But he has had the luxury. He has had the luxury of going before the courts to try to clear his name. Those two young men that died, those Trini men that died, their parents don't get to clear their name and come back. They don't get that opportunity. So this is not about being unpatriotic. In fact, it is unpatriotic that we allow the US to kill our sons. Those are sons of Trinidad and Tobago, and they cannot paint them as criminals without their day in court. That is unpatriotic. To simply paint our young men as criminals without their day in court. That is unpatriotic. We must stand up and say no. We believe in the rule of law. And as a lawyer, as a senior counsel, Kamla Prasad Bisessa cannot conveniently quote our constitutional right to be innocent until proven guilty when it comes to David Lee and Munilal. But when it comes to our young men, our fisher folk, bomb them and kill them violently. That is unpatriotic. Trinidad and Tobago, I want to end by reminding you guys, a state of emergency does not stop your right to protest. Come out in your numbers and say enough is enough. It is time. Stand, Trinidad and Tobago, and say we will not stand for murdering our citizens without giving them their day in court.
Yeah, and there you had it, a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago passionately expressing her displeasure with the way the leader of her country is doing things. Let me take a bit of a commercial break as the officers are already here, and when next you hear us again, it will be on Traffic Talk.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WinnFM.
Campari, Red Passion, embrace the mix.
Campari, Red Passion, full action, this is Red Passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari, Red Passion, make the nicest mix. Campari.
Campari Red Passion. Embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
It just got a whole lot brighter with the new $5 Holiday Stash Scratch Ticket. It's easy to play, packed with $1,000 prizes and many chances for you to win big this holiday season. So go ahead, treat yourself, spread some cheer, and stack some cash. Play Holiday Stash today at Caribbean Lottery agents and vending machines island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play. Please play responsibly.
And we are back at the time, 8:33, and with us we have the officers. We have Donnelly and Mr. Bell. Good day to you both. How are you today?
Good morning, good morning. And before we get any further into the program, we want to ask God's blessings. Heavenly Father, we come before you, dear God, this morning. Thanking you, dear God, for blessed awakening. Thank you, dear God, for giving us another opportunity. Thank you for life itself. Thank you, dear God, for sending your Son to die on the cross for us, dear God. We come before you this morning with humble hearts, asking, dear God, to just continue to be our guide. Watch over us during the course of today. Protect our nation. These mercies we ask in your name and no other name. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning to those persons out there in Radio Land, and those of you who are joining us for wherever you are. We are always happy to have you on our program. Remember, our program is not the same without you. We accept criticisms, we accept suggestions, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad. We're always here to as we would say, as police officer, our job is to serve you. We want to welcome back Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell was on vacation for a very long time. He made birthday in October, and so I'm not sure if he's still in celebrating mood, but we are happy to have him back this morning with us. Welcome, Mr. Bell.
Thank you.
Remember, I am Mr. Bell. Bell is one of the persons who will be taking over from me when I leave at the end of the year. And so we have to make sure that Mr. Bell, and we know he's been doing a good job on the program, and so I want the general public to continue to lift him up, because he's young and he has a lot of potential. And so we give God thanks for him. Now this morning we come to you with not a particular topic, as I was explaining to Mr. Bell, is that we just want to let the general public know that the photo radar is still working. It's still movable. It's moving. Persons are still trying to find out and wonder where the cameras are. And for me, personally, if you are not a fast driver, if you're not a person who exceeds the speed limit, wherever the photo radars are should not become a problem. No person that thinking that we're trying to coup persons or it's a money-making scheme. But the photo cameras have been working, Mr. Bell. And I say that because we have seen the decline in accidents, and we have also seen the way people drive, the behavioral change in people's driving.
And as you said that, when I saw the photo radars went up and I see the line of traffic, I say, look how society respect man-made stuff, but they don't respect the man himself. Because when the police are out there with the radar guns, they come speed, and by the time you stop them, they start to argue, oh, you can't give me a chance, you can't this. But because they know they can't beg pardon with the radar, they crawl and they respect the speed limit.
And it's crazy you said that, because guess what? When I call persons now, because now I'm in the area where I am now issuing the tickets to persons. So I call, let persons know, well, I have a ticket for you, it have been caught on the camera. And some persons, there is no problem. Some persons, they accept, with the when you, as you said, the man-made, when we go and we stand, and they be like, oh, you probably would have caught the vehicle behind of me, but you call them for the ticket, and when they look and they see how plain their number plates are, okay, well, it's me. I can't say it's not me.
Yeah, the next excuse they like to say, we targeting them, so let's see if the radar is targeting them.
I am saying. And so not that we are cooping anybody, we just want persons to understand that there are speed limits. Persons are still saying that the speed limit is too slow in our society, 20 miles and 40 miles per hour, and we would have done the exchange rate for persons in letting them know that once you're going 20 miles per hour, that is equivalent to 32 kilometers, and if you're going 40, that equivalents to 64, right? And so we still want to let the general public know you don't have to crawl. Some persons are really crawling. You can actually jump out of your vehicle and walk past by some persons how they are thing. Because some persons, for me now, honestly, I am looking at my speedometer. It becomes a part of me. I am driving home last evening and there is nobody in front of me, nothing on the road, and I am doing my normal, and it became like nothing. And this is a change. And so I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in other road users. But we just want to reach out to the general public. You don't have to drive 20 miles per hour in the 20 miles per hour zone. The speed camera is not going to pick up if you're driving 25 miles per hour or 30 miles per hour. You have to be doing that speed in order for the camera to just pick you up. So we want persons to understand, because persons still have to get to work, the country still have to run, persons still have to go about on their daily business, and so we just have to adhere. Now, the photo radars they're not in one place. So when you think that you saw it in Keys last night, it might be on the bypass road today. So it means then that you have to drive carefully the speed limit at all times, because you do not know when the cameras are being moved, where they are being placed. Some persons find themselves digging out those cameras, Mr. Bell. Persons make it their duty to go and seek out the cameras and post them on their status and send out the information.
I just was going to ask you about that, but the timing for that would be a little delayed because, back then when they passed the police, they could simply send a text in the chat, hey, the police on the road. But they have to be looking to find the cameras before they could send a message. So sometimes persons may have passed the cameras. They didn't even realize. So they cannot send any message to anybody to say, hey, the cameras are here at Frigate Bay.
Yes. And we would have had the opportunity to see people posting and saying police on the road. And that message goes around in a flash. That's when we are using the radar. Yeah. Police on the road. And so sometimes you see somebody creeping coming along down the long path, and that message was passed. Yeah. But not that we are cooping anybody. It will roll out at some point where the camera. It's no secret. We just want persons to understand that we are a growing nation, and so we are moving. These are the things persons have been asking for, and that is the reason I can speak to two gentlemen who came to the traffic department to collect their tickets, and they said, Donnelly, I got a ticket. And I did what I did wrong, and so I have to pay. But I just want to say, this is a good thing on the traffic department. It's a good thing on the nation. It's a good thing on the country, because some persons will make a fuss and say what they want to say. But let us have accident. Let us have somebody lost their life. Let it be a family member. Then somebody is going to say, oh, the police is not doing anything. Oh, look at what is going on in the country. And so we are trying to work along in making sure that things are put in place. And we are going to get better because we recognize, let's take, for example, we have persons who violating the system all the time with traffic offences, persons who have endless tickets in the system and mean that they're not going to pay a cent. And so now what is happening now is that they've been taken to court, persons who have had tickets in 2018 and 2019 and 2021 and 22, even though they were COVID times, persons were still being disobedient. Yes. The 2022, these matters are now being tried at the Bastia Magistrate Court. So nobody's getting off the hook. So persons were thinking that, I commit that offense. I can't even remember that. You will have to remember to either stand in front of the magistrate if you want to contest your ticket, or you will have to go and pay the ticket.
Yeah, as you said that too, I think we need to come back and explain how the prosecution process would go in terms of the photo radar. Back then, if it's a police officer stop you, that police officer would have had to go, and give witness and what's not. But now it's the radar, so the procedure might be a bit different in terms of who the officer might be taking you to the court.
Well, I will tell you that much. I will tell you this much, that some persons will contest your tickets, but I just want the general public to know that the ticket, the price for a speeding ticket at the magistrate court is $4,000. Just to note, not that we are scaring anybody, but if we avoid the speeding, then we would not get a ticket for $350, which is the minimum cost. We would not get a ticket for $450, $550. But if we want to contest, and you can contest.
So the minimum was increased from $250?
It's now $350. Okay. Yes, it's three. That's
out a while.
it's $350, the minimum cost, and so because remember our minimum was the minimum to what the speed that the radar is picking up. Remember when we do our hand radar, we clock you at 25, we clock you at right, but the radar is set in such a way that we giving you a leeway.
A grace.
That's correct, okay. And so that is the reason why it starts at $350.
Okay.
Now, some persons are thinking that asking about the calibration and so on. But all these things were put in place. All these things was done, and so on, because it went through our legal arm. That's correct. And so these are the things that persons are questioning. And so nothing is wrong in asking a question, because it's important to note, because if I'm going to give the government $550, I must know where my money is going.
Yes.
But we just have to avoid exceeding the speed limit. And go back to what I was saying, is that about the offences. Persons are thinking that you are going to get away with those tickets that you would have gotten years back. No, they're still being tried in magistrate court. As a matter of fact, one of the things that is going to be ruled out, maybe coming forward for 2026, 2027, is that points taken off from your driver's license, and you're not being able to renew your driver's license or renew your car vehicle if you don't pay up all the tickets and so on that you have in the system, and that is forthcoming.
I agree.
Yes,
I agree totally. To
and to have cameras and based on the on our stoplights, because we're still having the
persons running the red lights, yeah.
And I could tell you, listen, last night I'm trying to break my neck coming across by the police station, but there was and I remember the number of the bus, because I'm going to call him this morning to find out from him if he remember the number of the vehicle that overtook him right there in front of the police station.
Okay.
Because listen, he literally, the person in the car, I'm not sure if it's a female or male, they literally overtook the bus right in front of the police station and ran the red light. So I am hoping that the cameras are working in that area, because Constable Bell, that gentleman or that woman will not escape the hands of my pen, because that was reckless driving. I mean, you're passing a police station there was a line of traffic. Where are you going? The light is on red. So where are you heading?
I don't think the hospital is way either.
Exactly my point. So these are the things that we are speaking about, the offenses that persons continue to commit. And so, as a nation, be more respectful to the police officers. Be more respectful. Put yourself in our position. You are, let's say for example, you are a gentleman who sells fruits on the street, and you have your cooler with your fruits, they're cooling, and you have your table. And I'm a reckless driver, and I come down and I recklessly drove and ran straight into your business and knock over everything. You operate a particular because I am messing with your livelihood. But you want me now as a police officer for you not to respect what I am doing. And so it works both ways. We are doing a job. And so let us respect each other in whatever it is. Even the man who is sweeping the drain. Imagine the man just swept the drain. You saw him swept this area. But you're eating a chocolate. Or you're eating a piece of cane. And you saw exactly where the gentleman just finished sweeping. You saw your debris right there. Totally disrespectful. And so we just have to respect each other as a nation, as community building, as individuals. It doesn't matter what work somebody is doing. Let us be respectful. Our police officers are the persons who watches your place when you're sleeping at night. We are law-abiding. We are supposed to be law-abiding citizens, regardless to how you might feel about an individual in their line of work. There must always be some level of respect. And that is the reason why we have to bring down the hammer whenever persons see traffic cones and they move them just to park.
Yeah, and as you said that with respect, remember I stated earlier, persons show more respect to the radar, the photo radar, than the police officer himself. Sometimes we give persons tickets. They don't pay the ticket, or they wait until court case come up to go and pay the ticket. But when we tow the vehicles, they come and they pay the toffee before the morning. Fast.
In a blink of an eye.
So it all depends on how we enforce the law towards certain people. I think we need to get a bit more serious.
Yes,
in
more
certain
enforcement.
ways. Yeah, because, I mean, we get the respect, yes. I'm not going to say persons don't respect the police, but we get a lot of disrespect also.
Yes.
Intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't even come from a police officer approaching somebody wrong, or it's just for doing their job himself.
And for me too is feelings. Sometimes persons operate on feelings. Like you don't know me from nowhere, but you hear somebody say something negative about Officer Cheer. And right away you see Officer Cheer and you want to operate a particular way because somebody said that Officer Cheer is a bad officer. You didn't have any experience with Officer Cheer. But you heard somebody speak about Officer Cheer, and so you're going to be disrespectful to Officer Cheer. We have to be respectful to persons. It doesn't matter. Persons who continually park where there are yellow lines. Yellow lines are still an offense. Parking on a yellow line. It doesn't matter whether it's a Sunday, it's a public holiday, it doesn't matter what time of the day. And we say that to the persons who come to the traffic department to collect temporary driver's license. It doesn't matter what time of the day, what day of the week, wherever there is a yellow line, it means no parking.
And they agree that they know.
They know.
They agree that they know.
Persons continually park 15 feet from a corner. Persons see a corner and they're in a hurry. And some persons think that space here waiting for me. It's not waiting for you. It's a corner. But you give them a ticket and the police have something against you. If we put ourselves in the position where with you, let's take by Hartford, for example. You want to park on the corner by South Independence Square Street and West Independence Square Street. That's a corner. Now, if you take $5 and go down to the Rams parking lot or the UDC parking lot,
you would have $95 left if you have to pay for the ticket.
Exactly. But what happened in our country is persons want to park exactly where they want to go.
And when they travel, they would walk a mile.
A mile?
Yeah.
Bell, I could tell you about when the train put you off. When the train put you off, Bell.
Yeah, they would walk a whole mile. And
10 blocks.
And that, just for what I'm saying, we're giving tickets, they don't care because they work out, whenever they call me for the court case, I gonna pay the ticket. So they don't care if they get a ticket. But let us start going around with a tow truck. And when we see these offenses, we tow their vehicles. You will see less offenses being committed, I'm sure.
And I will hope that the right persons will be listening to me this morning, because the reason why I said that, Bell, is because when I got back to traffic in 2016, because remember I was there before 10 years, and then I was moved and went different places in 2000. So I got back in 2016, which was 16 years after, and things would have changed.
You're making yourself sound like a grandmother.
I am. 16 years after, I came back, and I remember the first meeting we had at the traffic department. You know what was the first thing I asked for?
A tow truck.
A tow truck. That was the first thing I asked for, because, one, I would have seen the derelict vehicles, and I would have also seen an increase on the amount of vehicles on the road, which means then derelict vehicles to be moved and persons are going to do illegal parking. It doesn't necessarily have to be a new truck. Just a truck that can get us, because that truck can pay for itself.
Yes.
And the government would have no problem. You're spending the money for the truck. We can get a truck. This is 2025. We can get a truck, a 2005 truck, as long as it is in good working conditions. And you see all this money that the tow truck guys are getting? Man, that's money into the treasury. Because persons, I could almost put my head in a black bell that had the police had their own tow truck, things would have been a lot different in this country. Yeah. Persons, again, they're buying vehicles. I mean, let's take last month, the end of last month, Bell, we had a car boat with 269 vehicles, and all of them landed on the island of St. Kitts. They weren't shared between St. Kitts and Nevis. So what you're telling me, another 269 vehicles here.
Just in St. Kitts.
Just in St. Kitts. But I say that to say, not that we can't allow persons. Persons are young, everybody. Some persons, well, I know in Nevis, the young persons prefer to put their investment in a house, while in St. Kitts, young people prefer to put the investment in a vehicle. And that's fine. You do whatever it is that you wish. But I am saying, if it is that you're going to buy a vehicle, you must always make sure that you have certain things in place. A place for parking, proper parking. Some persons in communities, I drove to Newtown about 2 nights ago, and the way how they are parked in Newtown, you think that there is no traffic department in St. Kitts because persons park on corners, persons park on yellow lines, and I am saying to the general public that even in communities, yellow line is an offence. Blocking people's gate. I went to a meeting at Hartford on Friday, and one of the persons working there is complaining about how persons continually block their gateway. And these are the things that we are dealing with as a department.
Yeah, we have persons sharing their concerns. We have traffic offences. We have accidents. We have administration.
And and our staff is not that big. And so for me, let us just do what we have to do to help each other. If you have an animal broken down vehicle, you're not using the vehicle anymore. You know, well, okay, I ordered another vehicle. I now got my new vehicle. Why do you still have that old broken down vehicle, Mr. Bell, still parked in front of your house, taking away a space from somebody, and you very well know that you do not need that vehicle? Just to let the general public know that the law states once a vehicle is broken down or derelict, it must be parked either in a garage, on private property, or the police is going to take it to the landfill. And we want to let the general public know as well, because some persons would call the station and say, Miss, officer, there is a broken down vehicle on my land. What to do about it? I could call the tow truck. Of course you can.
That's your land.
That is your property. Just make sure that when the tow truck comes, and if anything is to become of it, that you have your papers to go to the court, because this is your property. It is only fair if you know the individual or the individuals who have the vehicles parked have a conversation.
Yeah, and I find some neighbors, you know, I wouldn't really call it malicious, because everybody have the right to make a report. But I mean, you know, a neighbor would come out, see a vehicle parked in a way in the area, and they know who it is, and you know, before they go and have a conversation with the person, they call the police. And they give the police the impression that they don't even know who the person is. You know, and by the time you come, the neighbor gonna be like, but that's my neighbor, she could have just called me. You know, and they make the work harder for the police. You know, and then that now could give a little stigma between you and that neighbor. No. You know, because the neighbor gonna walk out, well, you're calling police for me. So, you know, we want to just encourage, you know, persons living in communities to try work as best together. Don't try to involve the police in everything. I mean, sometimes you talk to persons and they don't listen also, so you have to call the police. Yes,
that is true.
Don't try to make that the first
step,
the first option.
And so we are saying all of this so persons can be mindful that even though you live in a community and you have your vehicle, that doesn't mean that it's okay for you to commit an offense. It is still nation building that we are trying. It is still a part of traffic. It's still an offense, and so we are asking persons just to work along with the police, work along with your neighbors. If you have broken down vehicles, put them where they belong. If you have your vehicle and you want to sell it for parts, don't have it in front of your gate and take off a door today, and then somebody come buy the engine tomorrow and you still have it in front of your vehicle, in front of your gate, knowing fully well that you're taking up a spot. Persons who continually park on the sidewalk there by the cable. That is sidewalk. Sidewalk are for pedestrians to drive, to walk, sorry.
Yes.
And persons who continually, for example, persons who are traveling from east to west, if you're coming from the Basti police station and you're heading to the traffic department, you're not allowed to cross over onto the side by the Chinese. Person does that forever.
Wow.
Persons who continually park on the sidewalk at the Chinese on Wellington Road. Absolutely no care about whether or not the traffic is flowing.
No.
All these are offenses, and these are not offenses that we are making up.
And sometimes the driver in the vehicle sitting, just waiting, and you know, they see the lane of traffic behind and they wouldn't budge. They wouldn't even say, let me just spin around and come back.
But Mr.
They
Bell,
wouldn't move.
Mr. Bell, there's a parking lot right there.
And if you give them a ticket, people come look food, y'all come take money out of people's pocket, but they ain't seeing how much the inconvenience in the traffic.
I gave 7 tickets in that area last week, Wednesday it was. 7 tickets right by the Chinese place. And persons see you giving tickets and everybody running outside to move the vehicles, but I walk up to everybody, can I have a driver's license, please? I'm going to issue the ticket. Take your pass, driver's license. Hold on a minute for me, please, because you know I have to wait. Because you must not feel like it is okay for you to break the law and just come and just move away. And some person gets so disrespectful. There was a lady there making a whole heap of noise, cursing and carrying on, and you're in the wrong. Only to find out that the girl, her driver's license wasn't even, was expired. Her driver's license was expired and she's there cursing the police.
And if you wanted to be lenient, that gone out the door.
Through the door.
One time.
And I'm saying that these are things, we are not, the police is not we're not the aliens. The police, we have a job to do, it is true. And like everybody else, like every other
department, any other
institution, there is the persons who are going to operate a particular way. And we use our discretion at times. But sometimes our discretion is worn out because some persons just do not. Listen, I see whenever my officers goes out on duty and comes back in and say, Bangali, I'm back from duty, all quiet. I vex, you know. I very vex. Because if I drive from traffic department to the laundry, I see an offense. I am coming down from work one evening and there is a vehicle parked right just above Uncle T's. Just from the College Street got. The corner of College Street got and Cleon Street. There, right. Listen, he's parked, 2 persons talking to him on the left, 1 person talking to him on the right, and there is no lights on the vehicle. So I pull up and I said, good evening, how are you? Because sometimes they like to say, like to come to them, I said, good evening, how are you? He said, good Donnelly. I said, why are you parked here? I said, you don't even have on a light. Nobody can see, and you're just chattering. Now, in your mind, you're not seeing that the vehicles are behind them and have to overtake. And you're not doing anything, you're just you're not even putting an old lady in the vehicle. Or you don't even have a bunch of boxes trying to unload and to the vehicle. And so these things for me, these are offenses that persons need not be given a break on. Because for me, like you would have used the word earlier, these are malicious behaviors because they know. These are lawless people who just have no regard for the law. And so we're asking the general public just to work along, just to be respectful of the signage that we put into the street. Sometimes it is true that we, the officers, we put out signs and we forget to take them up, or we are delayed in taking them up. And so sometimes as a good citizen, just take it and put it to the side for the police because, the event passed already and we'll be grateful. But don't take them and put them in your backyard and when we're looking for them, we can't find them because persons do that.
Some of the children, they take them up to play small goal. They take them up and they carry them on the field and they start to play small goals with them. And so
that is a part on the police officers where we would err, just like everybody else. But we just came this morning just to bring to the general public the offenses that we have out there. They're nothing that we would have made up. They're on the books. They're against the law. Those persons who continually park on the sidewalk down by the market, that too also is an offense. We're speaking to the busmen as well, who just come and just stop anywhere they want. There are bus stations. There are bus stops. Make use those persons who continually do no right turn, where they specifically see a sign that says no right turn. Persons who come down there by Horsfords and turn right, and there is a sign that says no right turn. You have to go left. You're taking a chance. No. We are supposed to be law-abiding citizens in this nation. We want to move fast. We want to grow. We like to say, only in St. Kitts when it's convenient.
Only in St. Christopher.
And so we're just pleading to the general public to work along with us in your efforts to make us a better nation. We accept the criticism that are going to come to us, and so because we cannot police the street 24/7, we don't have enough police officers to police the street 24/7, and so we rely on you, the members of the general public, you, the community persons, to work with us and to see what we don't see. Come to the police. There's some of us who are good police. Some of you might feel as if like they ain't no good police. In my book, they are good police officers, but in some person's book, they are not. But so for us, come to the police, have a conversation, have a question. You have a question to ask. If you need to find out something about the traffic department, about even joining the organization, anything at all, you can always come to the police. And so my word to leave with you this morning before we part is to continue to be good law-abiding citizens, continue to be respectful to the police, and work with us as we try to build a better nation. Have yourself a good week, and you'll hear from Mr. Bell.
Just want to tell the public to drive safe, so I could have an accident-free day.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
'Tis the season for dreams to come true. There's Santa for the kids and CIBC Caribbean for you. Whether it's a house, land, vehicle, or upgrading your home, CIBC Caribbean can support your dreams with the financing you need. Enjoy incredible cashback deals with mortgages and land loans. Plus, your approved loan gives you a chance to win up to US $5,000. Apply now at www.cibccaribbean.com/sweeten the season. Terms and conditions apply.
Here are your Hornsford's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running October 30th to November 12th.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Pearl Milk Pancake Mix is just $11.99. Essential Everyday Vegetable and Canola Oils, $13.99 each. Pearl Milk Pancake Syrups, $13.99. Langus Cranberry Juices, $11.99. Essential Everyday Cream Cheese Bars, $7.99. Essential Everyday Fries, just $14.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. IGA and Essential Everyday Peanut Butter, Creamy and Crunchy, $8.99. IGA Essential Everyday Salad Dressing, $9.99. Mueller's Dry Pasta, $5.99. Arm & Hammer Toothpaste, $14.99. Arm & Hammer Deodorant, $8.99. Extra Liquid Detergent, $12.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
And I'm back with you. Was trying to communicate there with someone, and so I'm back with you. I noticed that my phone doesn't seem to be working, and that is a bit of a problem because I always look forward to the interaction, and there's no one here that I can relay that to, but during the course of the morning, hopefully I'll be able to relay that to someone so that they can inform whoever the provider is, the telephone provider is, that we need that rectified expeditiously. Okay? So that means it's going to make my job a bit harder because now I have to utilize all of my time and on my own, and that means, well, anyway, I've got a number of clips here, and so occasionally I'll be playing them. The time is 11 minutes, moving away from the 9 o'clock hour, and we just heard the officers speaking to various ticketing offense and various issues with that the police have to deal with, that they would like you to be accommodating with and sort of save them some of the undue stress and worry. Now, before the officers came, I played a clip with a concerned citizen being very vocal. That is in Trinidad and Tobago, a female individual being very vocal about what is happening there and where the priority of their leader, Miss Kamala Prasad, seems to be. It seems to be anywhere but with the ordinary citizens. I'm going to play a number of clips, and they're going to be related with some with the things happening in the region in terms of the build-up of armed forces, and we know that recently Russia now has ships and submarines in the area, and that is only going to heighten the tensions of the citizens within the region. But some may say that is a sort of agitative move, but I think that it is rather a diplomatic move, because that is how diplomacy works when you're dealing with a nation that feels it is a bully and it can just pounce on someone because they are small in stature and seemingly have no allies. When that bully realizes that you have allies and that those allies are prepared to let you know that they might have to protect their interests, then the bully is forced to reconsider, and more often than not, the bully does not pounce on the foreseen or the individual who they thought had no representative or no representation. When they see that you do have friends and allies, then they think twice before they come and try to accost you. So let's hope that this will be something that will be a deterrent. We still don't like the fact that bombs are still being thrown at ships and individuals killed indiscriminately without providing any evidence whatsoever. But we in the region are observing, and history will bear out your actions today, and how we interact with you in the future will be determined by how you choose to react with us presently. So I'm going to play you another clip, and this one is in relation to how our leaders, whether they are naive or whether they are just foolhardy, how they tend to, in their desperation, do things that compromise the patrimony of their very own citizens.
So, Mr. Pereira, we don't learn our lessons. So we fail to read history, and Caribbean citizens don't know our history. For the most part, we just don't know. We're ignorant of history for the most part. What do you think, Mr. Pereira, is the link between what is happening in Trinidad now and Guyana to a certain extent to what we saw, the play out in what we saw with this Grenadian invasion?
Well, before we get there, there's some interesting points that Mr. Corbin raised there.
Yes.
There was a lot that was happening in Dominica. Because I remember, I know the then Prime Minister Rosie Douglas, but long before he became Prime Minister, you had one Patrick John. And after Patrick John came out, there was something that they discovered that Patrick John was trying to, he was in contact with elements of the Ku Klux Klan and all of that. Ku Klux Klan, I recall, to seize power in Dominica. Dominica was a place that they were selling passports to people from all over the world, right? That was one of the things they were involved in. Not only Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda too.
Yeah, so we find that history has a tendency to repeat itself, because here you hear historian and journalists reminding us that sometime in the past, an individual who went by the name of Patrick John, who in his association with this passport for sale and trying to garner monies for whatever reasons, aligned himself with factions of the Ku Klux Klan. And you might think that the Ku Klux Klan doesn't exist anymore because you don't hear the name Ku Klux Klan, but they have other names. So some of the names that you hear might very well be associated with individuals who have the very same mindset and thinking of those who are and were associated with the Ku Klux Klan. You might hear libertarian and you say, well, that's a libertarian, they want freedom and autonomy. But there might be other reasons and other motives for these libertarians wanting to be exclusive within your proximity, right? And the thing that bothers me and baffles me is that you have these large countries around the world, like, for instance, Canada, the US, Australia, other big places, and these individuals hail from those places. And I ask myself, so why don't you put your enclaves and your libertarian societies there? Why do you want to come here in our area and where we have scarce land, you know, and you want to take up vast chunks of these lands for your own motives, and motives that don't align with our culture and our lifestyle, way of living, and so on and so forth. Why don't you put those libertarian societies or enclaves or whatever in your own space? Why bring them here and cause disruption? But then again, maybe that is just what they wish to do. Maybe what they really intend to do is to come into our space and garner as much of our limited land space as possible and eventually hold sway in terms of our destiny. Henceforth, they titled their places names like Destiny and so on and so forth. So there you had a bit of history reminding us that, imagine a Caribbean leader. Was he not au fait that these were the Ku Klux Klan? Or is it that our leaders are so naive that they would think, okay, well, it's the Ku Klux Klan. If the Ku Klux Klan want to put up an enclave in a certain part of Dominica or a certain part of St. Kitts and Nevis or certain parts of any island in the Caribbean, well, it's their right to do so, and as long as they mind their own business. But these people have a history of not liking us. So what makes you think that if you allow them to be in our space, they're going to be nice and cordial and we won't find negative things happening in association or relation to them? I mean, I'm just asking, why would you think that it is okay for you to bring people with that kind of history into your region? Money? Don't you look at the long-term fallouts or repercussions? Like I say, I'm just asking. Now, I'm going to play another clip, and I'm going to find myself playing a lot of clips because, like I said, the phones aren't working. I pick it up, don't hear tone, so it's not really from our end. It has to be from their end, and because I'm otherwise occupied, I can't get to a phone. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know who I would need to contact to get that done because that is not within my purview. That is not something that I usually do, so I'm not going to be able to inform individuals of the fact that we are not getting the required telephone services that we need for our daily happenings. Okay? So I'm going to play for you a clip now, and this again is in association with the region and where you want to move a present leader because you say they are criminal elements and blah, 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 and you purport to put someone in their place. But the more we find out about this individual, the more questions we are asking ourselves, and this individual seems to be of a very, very questionable character, even in relation to an association with her own people. So I'd like you to listen to this clip.
Look at the woman who they want to put in charge. She's the Nobel War Prize winner, Maria Corina Machado. Look at what she told Donald Trump Jr.
Forget about Saudi Arabia. Forget about the Saudis. We have more oil. Venezuela has huge resources: oil, gas, minerals, land, technology, infinite potential. And as you said before, we have a strategic location, hours from the United States. So we're going to do this right. We know what we have to do. And American companies are in, super strategic position to invest. Forget about Saudi Arabia. Forget about the Saudis. This country, Venezuela, is going to be the brightest opportunity for investment of American companies, of good people that are going to make a lot of money.
Donald Trump Jr. interviewing the Nobel Peace Prize winner about how she wants to help the U.S. loot her country and steal its resources and cause even more migration.
She's basically saying she's going to mass impoverish Venezuelans to enrich the people who are paying for her existence. After Hugo Chavez fought the managerial class in Venezuela for control of PDVSA, the state oil company, and they sanctioned Venezuela. Starting in 2015, Obama started the war to destroy the oil exports. In 2019, our colleague Anya Parampil reported on a State Department document that was actually scrubbed from the website, but she caught it before it was gone, where they boasted about all the economic damage through sanctions. And now Maria Corina Machado wants to privatize everything and hand it over to Trump Incorporated after winning the Nobel Peace Prize. So this is the woman they want to put in power through force. She'll ride in.
The thing is, it makes me and any broad-thinking individual question the validity of the Nobel Peace Prize now, because I'm beginning to think that perhaps the Nobel Peace Prize was a good thing then, but it has reached a point where it is now sullied, and the Nobel Peace Prize individual is picked according to how you want geopolitics to be played out, not so much to bring peace, because when you listen to this woman, she sounds very, very warlike. She sounds very angry, full of animosity. So here is it. You have this individual getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and you question. So why did she get this? You said it was about her reward is supposed to be about someone who's fighting for peace, a peace-loving individual, but she sounds very, very volatile, very, very, very angry and hostile. So again, from here on out, for a very long, long while, as far as I'm concerned, the Nobel Peace Prize is a suspect. It does not, in my opinion, have the credibility and merit that it should have. As far as I'm concerned, it has been sullied, and it is now being used as a political ploy. That is my conclusion. Okay, let me take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Campari. Red passion. Embrace the mix.
Campari red passion, full action, this is red passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari red passion, make the nicest mix. Campari.
Campari Red Passion. Embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
It just got a whole lot brighter with the new $5 Holiday Stash Scratch Ticket. It's easy to play, packed with $1,000 prizes and many chances for you to win big this holiday season. So go ahead, treat yourself, spread some cheer, and stack some cash. Play Holiday Stash today at Caribbean Lottery agents and vending machines island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play. Please play responsibly.
And I'm back with you. The time 9:30, and I was trying to speak with one of my colleagues there and seeing if he can get in touch with someone who will rectify this problem as far as the phone lines are concerned. Okay? Mr. Socrates is already here, so he will be here keeping you company on Voices for Today. But up until that time, I would like to hopefully get the phone lines back up and running. Okay. Let me see now. Let me remove that. Let me. Okay, I'm back with you, and I'm going to have to resort back to another clip. So far, I've not been able to get a tone on the phone. A bit of poetry there, or rhyming there. So let me now play a clip, and this clip is related to how our Caribbean leaders are often manipulated into doing things that go against what they should be doing for their citizens. Desperate Caribbean leaders being manipulated into aligning themselves with policies that are foreign to us and to our people. Okay. So let me play this clip now.
Eugenius Charles, what role did she play? Because I thought she and Mr. Siaga were the center, at the center of this, involvement in the Grenada invasion. But as you're saying to us today, Tom Adams had more role. He had a more prominent role in that overthrow.
Absolutely. Well, Dame Eugenia Charles, remember, Dame Eugenia Charles was leaning towards United States hegemony more than ever at that particular point in time, because she became Prime Minister of Dominica at a very troubling time for Dominica. She was faced with a lot of degeneracy in the island, and a lot of unfocused mischief was going on in Dominica and so on, that was actually put in place by nefarious political characters. And she took a stand, for it, and the United States of America recognized that here was somebody that they could actually manipulate if they gave her enough money. And she wanted to build a new cruise terminal and various other things and so on in Plymouth and in Roseau and so on. And remember that this is 1983, following Hurricane David in 1980. Okay? The United States of America put almost $500 million in aid into Dominica following Hurricane David in 1980. And she did everything she could to foster that relationship. And that relationship was ongoing. Dominica was in the middle of rebuilding from the devastation of Hurricane David in 1980, and then threatened again by Hurricane Allen in 1981. And Dominica was in a very critical era of its history. There's a lot of mischief going on, people utilizing aid packages and utilizing aid in the wrong directions, and the aid not reaching the people, which is exactly what we discussed this morning with regard to Jamaica and so on. And she was caught between a rock and a hard place, because the political entity saw or perceived her to be weak, and she did not want to be in a position to disenfranchise herself from the United States of America and the funding that would have put Dominica back on its feet. And that was one of the governing factors behind her acquiescing to Tom Adams' pressure.
Wow. Mr. Pereira, we have to learn our lessons. And one of the things about the Caribbean is that we don't learn our lessons. I think that is because we don't know our history. Caribbean citizens don't know our history. For the most part, we just don't know. We're ignorant of history. What do you think, Mr. Perrer, is the link between what is happening in Trinidad now and Guyana to a certain extent to what we saw, the play out in what we saw with this Grenadian invasion?
What was interesting is here you have Tom Adams on one hand, the Barbados Labour Party, of which was an official member of the SI, the Socialist International.
Mm-hmm.
That's a body that brought together social democratic parties.
Yes.
Like the British Labour Party, the New Zealand Labour Party, you know that, the PNP of Jamaica.
Yes, the PNP, yes. Mm-hmm.
His party belonged to the SI. And then the Americans, Thatcher and Reagan, founded a new international called the International Democratic Union, because you had Thatcherism in Britain and Reaganomics, which was two names in neoliberal economics or the Washington Consensus. That's what they run with. So he's right, because Eugenia Charles had this close alliance with Washington and London, you know, and here was Tom Adams, who was meant to be a social democrat, just went over with these two, and they worked with the Americans and played a very, very, very important roles in what they did in Grenada. I remember passing through, and the airport in Barbados had all these U.S. planes, transport planes and helicopter taking off. There was a forward base. So he's right.
Yeah, so giving you a bit of history again and trying to align what happened then with what we see happening now, where for whatever reasons leaders find themselves in compromising positions, because when they were in opposition they campaigned along certain lines, and now they are in government. You know, when you become the incumbent, the government, it's time for you to put up or, shut up and let your actions speak. But more often than not, these leaders, when they were in a seat of opposition, they just spoke because they could speak. And we find that happening very much these days. Opposition, it's easy for you to criticize. It's easy for you to critique. It's easy for you to say you have all these solutions and you can make things better. But when you become the leader, it's not just about you saying it anymore. It's about you doing it. It's about you proving that you can be the leader you purported or represented you would be. As you know, the old saying goes, the proof is in the pudding. And so you find, just as happened back then with Dame Eugenia Charles, and what is happening now with Miss Passad, she's finding herself in a position where she wants something to come to fruition so that she can say, okay, see, I promise you this and this is going to happen. And so she finds herself in a compromising position. But the question then becomes, should our leaders, when they find themselves in a position where they need some kind of impetus to advance their society or their community, should our leaders be exploited to the extent where they are forced to do things that goes against the development of their own people, that could be a detriment to them, but would advance the agenda or agendas of some foreign entity, like we see happening today, where the U.S. is here, whatever the U.S.'s intent is, it's not going to be beneficial to us. Whatever their long-term goal is, we don't see where that is going to benefit us, but they don't seem to care whether it's going to be beneficial to us. All they care about is, well, I'm here and I'm big and I'm strong and I demand you do that. But that again brings up another question, and the other question is, if someone comes to a developing country or nation and offers aid should that aid have all of these negative connotations or these negative strings that don't really benefit the people? And finally, I see my phone lighting up. Hello, caller.
Quint?
Yes.
Good morning to you, and greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, through faith only, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, as I just said, we need to become a republic and get out the British Commonwealth, and the quicker those things are done, I believe the better it will be, in a certain sense, for us. Now, let me also say something, because concerning governments and that sort of stuff that is being spoken of right now by you. Now, I'm going to say this, and I think I have said it already on WinnFM years back. I think so. But nevertheless, God gives us the government we deserve. And that is what we are going to get. Excuse me. Psalm 75, verse 7, and Daniel chapter 2, verse 21. Daniel chapter 2, verse 21, and Psalm 75, verse 7 tells us that God is the one who puts up, and he's the one who brings down. He's the one who puts in government, and he's the one who takes out of government. God only, ultimately speaking. And so, the government we have, he promised us in his word, is what we're going to deserve. You obey the word of God, you're going to get a godly, good government for your prosperity and for your blessings. You live in disobedience to the word of God, which we are doing, because we are an evil, wicked, sinful, Bible-disobeying people. That's what we are. And he promised in his word that when you live in disobedience to his word, he's going to give you, among other things, he's going to give you a government to destroy you, to undo you, to bring ruin to you, and so on, because of your disobedience to his word. You could read, for example, Deuteronomy chapters 28, 29, and 30, for example, for starters. No. Also, I would say, it ain't just go for governments only. Go for all institutions in government, in society. But I just single out government. But also go for churches too. The kind of people the church members are, who, disobedient to the word of God and that sort of stuff, you're going to get preachers who are going to take advantage of you for your destruction and ruin, which is what we are full of today in St. Kitts and Nevis and in so many parts of the world. And if you are serious with the word of God and obeying the word of God as church members, you're going to get pastors who are truly men of God, who are true shepherds of God to shepherd you. But all of this starts, our destruction, our ruin ain't start with the government. It starts with the churches. Judgment must first start at the house of God according to the Bible. It starts at the churches. And the churches, they don't have the light of the Bible in them. And because they do not have the light of the Bible in them, society, as a result, got to ruin. And we have all kind of bad governments and that sort of stuff, because that is what we deserve to get.
But speaking of churches, recently I find something quite disheartening happening. It seems to me that more and more of the pastors that we see in the churches, I've come to the conclusion, I could be dead wrong, but it seems to me that the pastors themselves don't really believe in what they are representing, because when you see the things they're doing now and the lifestyle and all of the extracurriculars they're involved with, whether sexual or worldly in terms of materialism and so forth, it seems to me, it seems to a lot of us, that a lot of the pastors today don't believe in what they're preaching.
And you are so correct. I couldn't say that. I couldn't say so many souls as I wanted to. Okay, we'll take up the whole of the show. But you are so correct. As a matter of fact, well, this ain't happening in St. Kitts, but trust me, I've seen the same attitude in St. Kitts, where this pastor called Marv Wiseman, sorry, not Marv Wiseman, Marv Winans, Marv Winans, or Winans. I think his brother or something like that too, Sissy Winans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there has been a clip on the internet where apparently he put two lines in his churches. He put two lines in his churches. In one line, if you're going to offer up 2,000 or more, you got in that line. If you're going to offer up less than 2,000, you got in the other line. Well, this kind of oldish kind of man, he ain't really too old. I would say maybe in his 60s. Went misunderstood and went in the wrong line for the 2,000, right? You're going to offer up. So she reached up by Marv Winans. And she gave him $1,200. He tell her, no, I said $2,000. I said $2,000 you're supposed to give, because she was in the line for $2,000. Okay? So he embarrassed her, no. If you're a man of God, first of all, you ain't gonna got no line for 2,000 and under 2,000. First of all, you ain't gonna got that nonsense.
Because that in itself is a shaming and a discrimination, because it makes all of those who are in the lesser paying one feel like they're lesser, and then to prove it, when she misunderstood and wound up, as you said, in the line for the 2,000, he wanted to make sure he put her and any of the others in the lesser line in their place to know that, hey, you don't come in this line. This line is for those who have more. You understand? So, wow, I mean.
Right. And he shamed her in front of the whole world. Okay? Shame her off in front of the whole world. Well,
but hear this. Let me ask you this. I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. But is it that he shamed her as much as he shamed himself?
Well, he shamed himself because I'm going to tell you the fallout. I'm going to tell you the fallout. He went worldwide. So people start to come down on him, saying, hey, even if she was in the 2000 line, as a man of God, you're not supposed to get on like that.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to get it. Okay? So then his church started to lose reputation and the sort. This is something that's happened recently. Let me tell you something that's happening recently. I might have just maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, if so long. And he got the woman to come on and then some kind of interview to say, well, Pastor Marv, he really didn't mean what he said. He really didn't mean what he said. It was my mistake and that sort of stuff. Okay? So people kind of soften. She kind of softened people.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be softened. I wouldn't be softened.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Quint. Hold on. Well, next thing, a few days after, the same woman come back on and say, you know what? They used me for damage control. They didn't care about me. Because as soon as this thing started to die down and people had started to get softened, they come and they start to cuss me and tell me it was my fault and I am the one who should have apologized to Marv Wiseman, not he apologized to me. And he never apologized to her. But as you know, but after she did damage control, they used to do damage, and people had started to get softened. Started to attack and say, hey, you is wrong. You should have been the one who. At time with church members, or no?
But you see, Greg, that is because this is the thing that happens. Why it keeps members in place. That is because the church has a cult within it that says, if you feel anything is going wrong in here, keep it in here. Don't kite out. No one is supposed to know. You can perhaps come and discuss it with us, but never let anyone outside know and see what is happening.
And that's a cult attitude, as you said.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something quickly about what I personally saw years ago in the flesh. Years ago on Vulture's pasture, they had some kind of crusade or something. Okay? And the preacher man said this. I need 5 people. Well, it wasn't no less than 5, but I think it's 5. He said, I need 5 people to come up here and give $1,000. People wait a while, then the 5 people went up. And when the 5 people went up, he said...
$1,000 each, or the 5 would be...
Each.
Oh,
each,
okay.
Each $1,000 each.
Wow.
And when the 5 people went up there, he said to the rest of us in the crowd, these people paid, but are you down there, are you just prayed? We prayed, but these people come to give the 1,000 each. They paid, so making us feel inferior to them, because all we could do is just pray. But they went further beyond praying, and they paid. This is why it's a one
But
time.
Greg, this brings up what I often say. It seems to me that the people, in their desperation, just like the clip I played with the politics, it's a link. In the people's desperation, and they're searching for God, they tend to put man in the position of God. And so man now is deciding, I want this and I want that. And they're really forgetting about God, the Creator.
Yeah, and not only that, they look for the Word of God in so many different ways other than the Bible.
Yeah.
If somebody come and say, God, tell me this, to accept that, then what the Bible says. And that is why I just say. And that is why I said what I said this morning. God give us the governments that we want. And in the church, God give us the government that we deserve. And in the churches, God gives the people them the kind of pastors, worthless, vagabond pastors, as Manners does say, that they deserve in the church as well. So, and that's why I just say I ain't a part of them, because I can't be a part of that nonsense. I can't be a part of it. I cannot support it. I cannot associate
Well,
it.
Greg, Greg, thank you for your call, because when I heard you, I breathed a sigh of relief, because I was thinking, hey, I'm going to finish my whole show without a phone call, and then Socrates is already over there, and he would have had to. So thank you for your input, okay?
Yes, and thank Jesus above all. Thank you. God bless.
Okay. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Quinn.
Good day, Mr. McMahon. How are you today? Good to hear your voice.
Yes, I listened to the show earlier this morning. Wondered the same thing. What was happening to the phone? Both the phones and curtains, you deserted you this today.
Yeah, you know, I like that word. I like that word, desert. I'm going to use that against.
It was for a good reason.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. But in listening, right, what I paid particular attention to was when you mentioned the fact that the Bar Association actually
wrote
to the, I guess it's the Attorney General's office, or Attorney General, right, with trying to set the record straight.
Yes.
On things that he had said about them before.
Yes.
I understand there is a reply to that reply.
Okay.
Out there.
I haven't seen that one as yet.
Yeah. But what I found interesting about the whole thing, well, not interesting, disturbing is more like it. Mm-hmm. It seems to be that either the Bar Association or the Attorney General's office is guilty of causing either miscommunication or misunderstanding, or somebody is outright lying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they don't match up.
I agree, because, for instance, I was a bit concerned when I'm distracted here because of the phone. Flames, I'm going to have to call you back. Okay. I was a bit concerned when the letter to the response to the Attorney General said, well, we got this from you, and it was a bit late. We couldn't respond, and you never got back to us. Why didn't they then reach back out to the Attorney General? Why sit back and wait? So this is where I agree with you.
Right. I guess there's enough blame to go around. But at the same time, that is no reason for the Attorney General's chambers to stop communicating, certainly on issues of national importance like bills.
Yes.
With the Bar Association.
Yeah.
Okay? And it is certainly no excuse for the Attorney General's chambers to not ask for their opinion on the SSC bill. Something as seminal as that, and you're not going to communicate with an important section of the society, representing an important section of the society, the representatives of an important section of society on something as important as this. No, I do not swallow that one bit. Okay, and to be honest with you, I think the Attorney General is on shaky ground now. Very early in the administration, there was this thing with the Social Security.
Yeah.
Now over the weekend, you're hearing something else, which again is very disturbing.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's the same thing, but someone showed me something where, the words uttered were, not.
Well, the whole thing sounded threatening to me. To me, regardless of the provocation, we certainly expect I would regard him as a chief law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
We expect the Attorney General to be following the law and setting an example for the rest of the citizens. Okay?
And when you say
when
you say setting example, do you mean setting example in terms of decorum and otherwise?
Well, certainly in terms of decorum. If you're in the National Assembly, you should set an example according to decorum. But in his particular case, it's the law.
But this thing that I'm speaking about, right, it seems it is a response between him and a particular individual, right?
Correct.
But the way he's representing himself verbally and otherwise, this is why I asked the question about decorum, because shouldn't someone in that position be aware of their status and at all times try to speak in a manner that represents decorum to the office?
Of course.
Okay.
It goes back to discipline and judgment.
Yes.
Right. We expect Attorney General to exercise both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there were some people in response saying, well, it was defending his family and what. We don't know the whole story, but I can tell you that even the Attorney General would not recommend that, on reflection, would not recommend that kind of language, and it almost sounded very threatening. Would not recommend that as a way that any other citizen would deal with a problem. Okay, I'm pretty sure he would not recommend that. He would not say.
I agree.
Yeah,
but
he would tell them to use, either go to the police or use the law courts, the judiciary system to settle these things. That is what.
Okay, I'm going to have to break because, as I said, Socrates is already here, and I don't want to go too much into his time.
Like I said, I think he's on shaky ground.
Yeah, I agree.
Reminded
I would agree.
Reminded that there's the conventional wisdom of 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
So
okay.
You should be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Found the South 98.9 WinnFM.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
we make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together.